Caution: to avoid overheating your storage system, you have 10 minutes to replace the controller node once the failed node has been removed from its bay. Note: the removal replacement procedure for the controller node is essentially the same for all configurations. Examples from each configuration will be demonstrated. Attach your ESD wrist strap to an unpainted surface of the enclosure or rack. Confirm that the UID locate LED is solid blue on the node to be removed. This indicates that it is safe to remove. Confirm that all the cables attached to the node are labeled, noting their locations. For best practices, especially in a complex installation, label with both destinations: enclosure, bay, slot, and port, as well as host or switch and port. Remove the Ethernet cable from the admin port by pressing the release tab and disconnecting the cable. If installed, remove any data cables by pulling on the release tab, noting their location for later replacement. Remove each SFP with the fiber cables attached by gently pulling out the long release tab underneath the SFP. Caution: use care not to damage the SFPs. Note: it is not necessary to remove any SFPs that do not have cables attached. Note: to avoid exceeding the 10-minute limit, consider lessening the amount of time the node bay would be empty by first transferring the adapter cards to the replacement node while the failed node remains in its bay. Fully loosen both captive thumb screws that secure the controller node handles to its enclosure bay. If too tight, use a Torx T15 screwdriver to loosen. Open both controller node handles simultaneously to disengage the node from the closure backplane and partially slide the node out of its bay. Caution: the node is long and heavy. Be prepared. While making sure that all cables are out of the way, support the node from underneath and carefully slide it out of its bay in the enclosure. Place the removed node onto the flat anti-static surface next to the replacement node. If not already transferred over earlier, carefully transfer all adapter cards from the failed node to the replacement node, making sure that the adapter cards are transferred to the same slot they occupied in the failed node. For each adapter card, remove the OCP blank covering the target slot in the replacement node. Then fully loosen the single captive thumb screw that secures the adapter card to the failed node. If too tight, use a Phillips head screwdriver to loosen the thumb screw. In most cases, pull the captive thumb screw and tab to unseat the adapter card from its backplane in the node. Some OCP cards may utilize a release lever for unseating. Carefully align and slide the adapter card into the appropriate replacement node slot and press firmly on the faceplate and tab to fully seat it. Caution: do not press on the thumb screw, the SFPs, or the SFP receptacles. Note: you may need to press very firmly to fully seat some adapter cards. Tighten the captive thumb screw to secure the adapter card, or use a Phillips head screwdriver for slot 1, which has very little clearance. Note: the preliminary iSCSI adapter card shown here will have a thumbscrew in its production model. Caution: clear the area in front of the empty bay of any cables that might get snagged or damaged during reinstallation of the controller node. With its release levers in their open position, carefully align and slide the node into its bay until its release levers begin to engage. Close the release levers to fully seat the node into the enclosure backplane. Fully tighten both thumb screws to secure the node to the enclosure. Replace all the cables that were removed earlier, making sure that each cable is in the same location and fully connected. Caution: use care not to bend and cause damage to your optical cables. As soon as the node is reinserted, it restarts automatically and node rescue is run. Note: for the first 40 seconds, the controller node may not show any indications of power. Do not reseat the node until after seeing no activity for more than 40 seconds.